75 days ago, I set out to challenge myself to drink 3 liters of water a day, totaling 135 liters of water, to work out for 45 minutes, 6 days per week, totaling 48 hours of intentional activity, to read my Bible daily, to eat on average under 1,800 calories per day, and to document it all through before and after photos, measurements, and of course, YouTube videos. This is my 75 Soft Challenge. We will take a look at the photos and measurements a little bit later, but first I just thought I would take you along on the last 5 days of my 75 Soft Challenge. So while you watch me drink tons of water, get really sweaty with my workouts, read my Bible, and eat lots of delicious and calorie-conscious meals, I will tell you a little bit about how this challenge actually went. But before I talk about how the challenge went, I wanted to chat about why I set out on this challenge to begin with. I touched on this a little bit in my first 75 Soft video, but I really started this challenge for 2 main reasons. First, I just wanted to really cement some of the habits that I already had. I already drank lots of water and ate pretty well. I already worked out 3 to 4 days per week, and I read my Bible on most days of the week. But I really wanted to dial all of these habits in and make them even more consistent. And second, I wanted to set a challenge out for myself that had a clear beginning and end, so I could check it off as something that I had accomplished. As I mentioned in that first video, as a stay-at-home mom, I do a lot of cyclical tasks every day. Tasks that you do and 2 seconds later, they need to be done again. There is always another meal to cook, dishes to clean, a diaper to be changed, or another load of laundry to fold. Nothing is ever truly checked off the list. So I set out on this challenge for the very specific reason of simply checking it off the list. So at the end of the year, I can look back and say to myself, I finished the 75 Soft Challenge this year. I think one of the biggest criticisms of a challenge like this is the sustainability factor. And I tend to agree with this criticism. If you are at 0 with all of these habits and you jump in with both feet into a challenge like this, looking to radically change your lifestyle, I think that's a little bit short-sighted. That is a huge change from one lifestyle to a completely other lifestyle. And generally speaking, huge changes are usually not as sustainable as small changes made over time. In my opinion, for what it's worth, I think this challenge serves us best as a jumpstart into better habits, but that we should realize that we are probably not going to be able to maintain all of the habits to the full extent of the challenge. If we could, it would not be much of a challenge. But if we go into the challenge with the goal in mind of improving our baseline, then I think we stand the best chance of feeling successful long after the challenge is over. I certainly don't want to give the impression that I breezed through this challenge with no issues or difficulties, because that would absolutely not be true. During these 75 days, I traveled out of town to see family for a family reunion for a long 4-day weekend. During that weekend, we ate out a lot on the road, and we also did not have control over the food provided by the family at the family reunion. So I got practice making the best decision that I could with the options that I was presented with. This is a challenge, but also the key to making this into a lifestyle. During the 75 days, my kids also got sick. And any mom knows that sick kids just make everything less predictable schedule-wise. Not only did we have to squeeze in those doctor's appointments into the schedule, but also nap times became less predictable and were tending to get replaced with snuggle times. And finding the time for that workout gets a little bit more difficult. But by far, the most challenging thing that happened during the 75 days was a health event of my own. I've mentioned only briefly on this channel before that I have a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, which is an autoimmune condition that causes the immune system to attack the lining of the nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. It's obviously way too complicated to address in this video, but basically it causes pain and loss of function in the nerves in various areas of the body, as well as causing extreme fatigue. This relapse of my MS started at about week 9 of the challenge, and it affected my challenge in that I was unable to complete the 45-minute workouts for most of the end of the challenge. So, did I actually complete the challenge? Was I a success? I guess you can decide for yourself, but in my mind, I was still very successful on this challenge because the success was in my mindset. And it goes back to the reasons why I started the challenge in the first place. Was I perfect? No, but I never threw in the towel or told myself I quit. Each and every day I got up and did the tasks of the challenge to the very best of my physical ability. If all I could do was lift weights for 10 minutes that day, I lifted weights for 10 minutes that day. If all I could manage was a 15-minute walk on the treadmill, then I walked on the treadmill for 15 minutes. So when I was feeling discouraged, I reminded myself of the reasons that I started the challenge. And I asked myself, was I accomplishing those goals? As long as I just got to the end of the 75 days, doing the absolute best that I could, I was accomplishing the goals that I set out for myself. And as a result of not giving up, I managed to lose 12 inches overall from my body. And I lost a total of 11.4 pounds over the course of the 75 days, which is a little bit over a pound per week. So if you are on the fence about trying a challenge like this, I would encourage you to know why you want to do the challenge, have clear goals in your mind, and then start, because you will never know what you can accomplish unless you try.